Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to episode 23 of Drew's Baseball Crew. And again, here today, we're going to preview MLB DFS slate for guess what? April 28th, 2023. We have some games coming up here. And looking at the slate, right? Most of them are later games. We do the 3:10, 5:40 Central Time games also. But right now, we're looking at some rain issues, right? We're going to look at some weather. We're looking at some cancellations potentially, so I'm going to keep you all posted on that with some weather report now as well. And of course, I got my friend up by my side, Point Brewery Diet Root Beer. They got me covered, right? NFL draft was yesterday. What do you think I'm going to be drinking tonight for the draft? Yeah, you know the drill. Again, 0 calories, great root beer taste. I always like to add, what makes Point Brewery root beer so unique and why you need to try some, it has they like infuse it almost with vanilla. So like there's this vanilla flavor with the root beer. It's brilliant. So I think that's the thing that stands out for this root beer. Check them out. Again, they're linked down below. Thank you, Point Brewery, providing the root beer. Love what you all do. Love the taste too. All right, let's get going on the slate. Just wanted to shout out the drink of choice as always, but let's get rolling. We're gonna start with the weather. It's a mess today. Like when I say it's a mess, we're looking at Kansas City, Minnesota. That game's not gonna happen. Probably the rain. It's gonna be tough. Wind's gonna be bad. Weather's gonna be tough. Baltimore, Detroit. I'm not thinking that's happening either. Pittsburgh, Washington. Probably not happening. Wind and rain. Not looking good. The last one's Atlanta, New York. The Mets. That game's probably the most likely out of these poor weather games, but still not ideal. We do like our domed stadiums here in Milwaukee, in particular. Game will be going just fine tonight, but it's probably 4 games. So if you think about it, not sure what happened with the video. I'm back though. Okay, interesting. Anyways, let's get going here. Let's talk through now some of the lineup and pitcher report. Again, we're going to use our friends at Baseball Savant and Ballpark Pal, of course. All right, we're looking at starting pitchers, the top guys in terms of strikeouts, right? It looks like every model prefers Jacob deGrom today. I'm rightfully so against the Yankees. Some good numbers for him. I guess looking more the number side, Pablo Lopez would have a great matchup if that game were to be just fine. But I got to go to those games that we know are going to happen. Jesus Luzardo is a great one. Cubs struggle against lefties. XBA of 213 against. XWOBA of 290. Good numbers for him. High K rate. I like Jesus Luzardo today for the Marlins. Also, Stroman has some good numbers against them, but again, the K rate makes Luzardo more attractive today. Going to Seattle and Toronto. So Alek Manoah has had a rough start to the season, but has some good career numbers against the Mariners. I'm looking at that. Luis Castillo has brilliant numbers. XP of 185 for his career. Pitchers are going to be, a surplus today. Great option so far. Other ones, like the struggling White Sox, are they? Giolito's got good numbers for his career off of them. XBA of 228, decent strikeout numbers. Wouldn't be the worst play today. Clark Schmidt against the Rangers could be a value play. I would not rule that out. Framber Valdez against the Phillies, 70 career plate appearances, XBA of 180. K rate of 36%. You heard that right. Framber Valdez might be a great play today. Brewers cannot hit lefties. That's one to keep in mind. They're against Tyler Anderson, who has good numbers against the Brewers for his career. A K rate of 34%. Again, Anderson, a good option. Tyler Anderson, Angels versus Brewers. We do have a Coors slate, so Merrill Kelly and Kyle Freeland. I'm sorry to hear that. Other than that, Dustin May against the current Cardinals, XP of 182. Exit velo's low up against. So I named how many pitchers? Like 8. Look, I think if you're looking at like good value, it's gonna be, I'm a Brewer fan, right? You see the flag back there, I'm a diehard Brewer fan. Tyler Anderson it's not a good matchup for Milwaukee. We know that. Tyler Anderson is a decent value play there. If you want to, and Clark Schmidt also, but and then I guess Jesus Luzardo, depending on the value you get. But then the guys you pay up for are like Luis Castillo, DeGrom, right? Those two mainly. Manoah wouldn't be bad. And then Framber Valdez. I'll be rolling with Framber Valdez probably for sure. I'll consider Tyler Anderson against my team, which is hard to do. I'm also looking at Clark Schmidt, and then I might just go and get double studs. I'll probably go Luzardo and Valdez is what I'll be doing the pitcher wise if I'm taking two. And that's what you do at Fantasia. You take two pitchers there. The models also like Jesus Luzardo as a top matchup today. I also, an underrated thing, right? Ballpark Pal, they simulate the game thousands of times. Well, you can see probability a pitcher gets a win. That's powerful, right? When you're looking at fantasy score, whether you're doing DFS props, right, or just fantasy in general. Max Fried's actually the most likely pitcher to get a win per Ballpark Pal. Then Luis Castillo, Zach Eflin, then Tyler Anderson. Those top. And keep in mind, we have some weather going on then with that Atlanta-New York game. So that's why I'm not mentioning those guys. I do want to focus on the matchups now. I love looking at the hitting matchups each day and seeing like who has done well against who. I think that's always fun to see. So let's look for April 28th, some hitting matchups. Then we'll take some weather into effect with our argument. Anthony Rizzo for his career off Jacob deGrom, 11 for 27. You heard that right. 2 walks to 4 strikeouts. OPS over 1,200 or no, over 1,000. Sorry. So I'm looking at that. And then with the Coors Light, are you all ready for this one? Like the Coors stack is making itself. Evan Longoria off of Kyle Freeland, 11 for 34 with 2 home runs. OPS over 1,000. Ketel Marte off Kyle Freeland, also, and then also an OPS around 1,000, a little under 1,000, but 6 walks to 6 strikeouts. Good. We love to see that. Chris Bryant off Merrill Kelly, 8 for 19 with an OPS of over 1,100. Okay. So right now we're looking really good right now. In terms of just that the stacks and what you can do there. I do want to mention, I know weather, but if the weather clears up in Atlanta, Austin Riley off David Pearson, 8 for 16. Pretty good sample size. Love those numbers. And then also Max Fried against Jeff McNeil. McNeil has won that matchup, 10 of 27 for him. I got some more CJ Cron off Merrill Kelly, 5 for 13. Right, we'd love to see that. Charlie Blackmon off Merrill Kelly, also batting 300. Oh no, the Coors slate is gonna be something today. I feel it. Let me see the over under on that right now. What are we guessing? 10, 10 and a half? 11. The over under is 11 in Colorado today. So we're gonna definitely see that in our weather adjusted report. Right, you're hearing a lot of Coors is gonna be in this slate. A lot of Coors Light, or I say Coors Light, a lot of Coors Field, Coors Light, right? Of course, with it, going to be on that field in the ballpark. There's gonna be a lot of home runs. Promise you that. Right, but it's gonna be something to monitor. All right, so let's go to the weather report. And as I mentioned, the Coors effect, not the Coors Light effect, the Coors Field effect, is going to be in effect today. So going to park factors, what do we think the plus minus for runs is going to be? Plus 10%. Actually, wind looks like it might be blowing in. So it's like we're looking at like extra base hits more of in this one. Who do we think is going to have the top matchup today? I'm going to guess, it's going to be, all right, yeah, it's going to be actually Shohei Ohtani off Wade Miley, right? American Family Field's going to have the advantage of being the dome today, which all these other places have some tough weather, and so dome stadium's gonna end up moving up, which happens for the Brew Crew today. So yeah, a guy I did not mention who might be decent value. If you wanted to do some sort of stack, or you take 2 or 3 guys from Arizona and Colorado, you might have to. You might be able to. We're looking if Mike Moustakas gets in this lineup tonight against the righty, because Moustakas has actually a pretty favorable matchup per Ballpark Pal. plus 36% change in runs created. CJ Cron, of course, has a really nice matchup. His extra base hits is plus 61% change. Incredible. We're looking at, right, I mean, Charlie Blackmon's a part of that, Elias Diaz. No, also some Pirates. Didn't really mention the Pirates today. But again, with the Pirates, we're looking a little bit in the weather. So it's kind of hard to mention them. 86% chance of rain. Unfortunate, but we have to stay safe. We have to play it a little conservative here. And probably can't be mentioning them. I mentioned Longoria. Emmanuel Rivera is another good one. Hits lefties well. Potentially slots in the DH spot. I'm wondering with Longoria that maybe have Longoria DH against the lefty and Freeland. But you got to have them in the lineup for sure. We're just going to have to wait and see kind of how that lineup sets up. So I'm going to be monitoring that with my lineup, of course. Some other matchups there. It's again more of those Colorado guys, Jerks and Profar, Ryan McMahon. I like Brian and Crone. So I like the bigger names today. But along with that, Shea Langeliers has been hot for the Oakland A's. Homers off Ohtani yesterday. Good matchup against Luis Cessa today. So with the Reds, keep potentially that in mind. I mentioned those Colorado. I mentioned the main matchup guys. I'll go back. So I mentioned the Coors Slate guys. Ohtani is what the model also likes, just hitting today. But then we have to Anthony Rizzo, right, has great numbers, just getting on base, right? OBP of 448 against DeGrom. You'll take that. Anthony Rendon is 7 for 12 off of, how'd I miss that? 7 for 12 with 4 walks off of Wade Miley. So I love Wade Miley, right? But not a good matchup for him today with the Angels, who have some guys who have historically hit him well. And again, I mentioned Ohtani also today. Good option. Avisaíl Garcia against Stroman. Pretty good matchup. I mentioned Stroman as potentially a good play, but 5 for 10 for him. And also just walkie, no strikeouts. So love to see that. So definitely I'm going to be pairing, right? It's going to be the guys I mentioned in the Coors Slate. So like 2 and 2 potentially, maybe up to 5 guys I'll be taking. But then I'm going to just like take guys with those good matchups, right? Anthony Rizzo will be in there. And then also, right, obviously El Garcia, depending on price, Anthony Rendon. That's like 8 guys already in the lineup. I mentioned the pitchers. Looking at the lefties today, I'm looking at Valdez and Luzardo. And so I'm monitoring that. If weather was better, I'd like to take some of the other guys in those matchups. But like I'm monitoring Mets because I think there's some good value there in that game, the Mets-Braves game. I think Austin Riley would be a good play. I like Pete Alonso today. So those are like some guys I'm monitoring. I mentioned the Coors Slate guys. Mike Brosseau is going to be probably batting leadoff today for Milwaukee. I honestly don't mind that at all. If you're looking for a guy to just insert for some value, Shea Langeliers at catcher, or you take Elias Diaz with Colorado would be my options. Jared Kelenic, he's been hot. Might as well go with him. I know it's Manoah, but he struggled this year so far. Colton Wong was another one if you're looking for some other value and you can't find a guy. I mentioned the Pirates guys I mentioned, again, tough to kind of recommend. Brandon Drury off Wade Miley. If you want to do some sort of stack against the Brewers as a Brewer fan, I'll still say, you could. It'd be Rendon, Ohtani, and Drury would be the 3 I would choose. Sorry, Mike Trout. Yeah, that's kind of like the overall slate today, right? A lot of weather, like a lot of games affected by weather, so it gives me less options to recommend to you all, unfortunately, but feel like kind of gave the good background. You'll see again my lineup at Drew Sports Crew, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. It'll be up. YouTube Shorts. I got you, no problem. I'll be there. Join me on Fantasia Sports, and let's win the slate today. You know what? Let's have some fun. It's Friday, draft day 2. A lot of fun. Looking forward to it. And again, I want to thank you all here for listening to yet another episode of Drew Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.